By at 78. The silence finally breaks. For decades, the world watched a man who wrote melodies that felt like confessions, yet never confirmed the one question that followed him like a shadow. Tonight, the truth doesn't arrive with a headline or a scandal. It arrives quietly, like a piano key pressed after everyone has left the room. And when it lands, it changes how we hear every song that came before it. He sits alone in a studio that smells of wood and time. Fingers hovering above, keys worn smooth by history. Outside, Stockholm is wrapped in winter. Inside, memory is louder than sound. Benny Andersson closes his eyes. And for a moment, he's not 78, he's younger, he's unsure, he's listening for something that can't be written down. There was always a her, even when no one could agree on who she was. Fans guessed. Journalists speculated. Some thought it was a woman who broke his heart. Others believed it was fame itself, or the cost of success. The songs didn't answer the question, they deepened it. Why did joy always sound edged with loss? Why did love feel like something already slipping away? The world met him through a band that turned private feelings into public anthems. ABBA didn't just dominate charts, they soundtracked weddings, breakups, lonely bus rides, and late-night kitchens. Bright harmonies, masked, complicated truths. And beneath it all, there was that presence, unnamed, waiting. In the early years, rehearsals ran long. The room would empty, and he'd stay behind, tapping melodies into the dark. A coffee would go cold on the piano. Sometimes, he'd stop and laugh at himself, like he'd almost said too much. Other times, he'd keep going, chasing a feeling he couldn't explain to anyone else. Was it love, regret, or the echo of a promise made to himself long before success arrived? There were women in his life, brilliant voices. Beside him on stage, Agnetha Foltskog and Annie Fridlingstead carried melodies that felt intimate because they were. The chemistry was real, the emotions complicated. Yet even as headlines focused on relationships, something deeper remained untouched, like a locked drawer no one thought to open. Years passed, fame softened into legacy. Tours ended, studios changed, but the question didn't age. Interviews circled it without landing. When asked about inspiration, he smiled and deflected. When asked about love, he spoke of music. And when asked about her, he paused just long enough for the room to hold its breath. The confirmation comes not as confession, but clarity. He finally says what he's always known. She was never a single person. She was the space between notes. She was the feeling that arrives before language. She was the version of himself that only existed when music told the truth he couldn't. The love story wasn't hidden in tabloids. It was hidden in plain sight, inside every chord progression that refused to resolve. Think about it. How many times have you loved something that didn't love you back the same way? How many times have you chased a calling that demanded everything and promised nothing in return? For him, her was the music itself. Beautiful, demanding, impossible to hold. A lifelong relationship that gave the world joy while asking him for silence. There's an old recording where his hand shakes slightly before the first note. He listens back now and hears not perfection, but honesty. The tremble matters. The pause matters. That's where the truth lived all along. Not in grand gestures, but in the quiet moments after applause fades. As the final years approach, he doesn't speak with regret, he speaks with gratitude. The mystery dissolves into something universal. We all have a her, don't we? A dream, a craft, a love we can't fully explain. Something that shapes us, challenges us, and stays with us even when everything else changes. So when you hear those songs again, listen closer. What sounds like nostalgia might be devotion. What feels like heartbreak might be commitment. And when the last note fades, ask yourself, what truth have you been circling your whole life, waiting for the courage or the time to finally name?